Hello again and welcome to Tips with Andrew. I am Andrew Sapiano. Thank you so much for joining me on this happy, what day are we today? Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday we are. Oh, Thursday. We're almost at the weekend. Yeah. I hope you guys are having an awesome week so far and are rocking out whatever goals, hopes, plans, dreams, ambitions you had for the week and are currently making it awesome. What a beautiful day we have out there today. It's actually been quite nice weather for the last little bit, which is a little bit of a change from what we've been having, the rainy, foggy, blah weather that normally comes with it. Quickly, before we get started here, what is it? This month only until the 15th, so there is still a few more days to get it. Motivate Blend is actually the free product of the month. I have some stuff about Motivate from the Bible. Oh yeah. Motivating, energizing, believing. It is called the Encouraging Blend from doTERRA. Squelch the frustration and doubt that can halt progress with this blend's ability to encourage productivity, creativity, and confidence. Oh yes. It blends 8 different oils together, right? To form this amazing, encouraging blend. And it's actually interesting because if you were to buy those 8 oils, it would be very much more money than just getting them together in this blend. So if you're interested in getting a little bit more motivation or encouragement into your life, definitely reach out to me and we'll get you rocking and rolling. Next, I have launched a weight loss course for beginners. It is an online digital course for download. Discover 5 little known secrets to losing weight. If you or somebody you know of is interested in dropping a few pounds, now that the summer months are officially upon us, definitely reach out to me, drop me a comment, send me a message, and we'll get you rocking and rolling. There's tons of cool stuff that comes along with the initial launch, and I'm super excited to get it out there. I know that it's going to change multiple people's lives, and I'm so excited. Next, convention tickets have gone on sale. They are officially in the full swing of the on sale process. It is happening in the middle of September. So a little bit over a month to go, maybe right around the month range. It's doTERRA's yearly event. There's so much cool stuff going on there. Tons of science behind the oils, why they work with us. Cool customer stories as to how other people are faring with the oils. Guest speakers. We normally get some cool guest speakers. Last year we had the Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, so that one was really cool. I think that was actually 2 years ago. I don't know. And yeah, so if you or somebody you know of is interested in learning more about essential oils, how they work, why they work, or how to reduce the toxic load in your life, definitely this is the event that you do not want to miss. It is going to be in person in Utah, and there's also a live stream event going on. That's the one that I'm super excited about. So if you definitely reach out to me, and whichever one you're interested in attending, we will definitely rock it out together and get you more on your way to living a better, wealthful life. All right, that's it. That's where I'm going to cut it off because, oh man, I'm telling you, there's so much more going on here right now. But I don't want to drag on. I could just keep going and going. So let's get into today's topic. What we actually had a little bit ago was Paperback Book Day. And this one is actually really interesting. So what I wanted to talk about today was some important benefits of reading more, right? With nowadays especially, oh my goodness, right? With the iPads and the video games and, how many different streaming services do we have for TV shows? And then on top of all that, now we've got baseballs in the thick of things, right? We're almost at the end of the year there. Football's starting back up. The Olympics are taking place right now, right? So there's so much going on at this moment. And it can be very challenging, right? To pick up and read a book. And I mean, let's get realistic here, right? When was the last time we actually picked up a book to read? When was the last time we actually got 5 minutes to ourselves that we wanted to spend reading a book, right? More often than not, we don't actually have time to accomplish all the things that we need to in the day already. So for us to add more things, and especially like reading a book, right? That can be, it can be very challenging to try and find a couple minutes here and there. So that's where I wanted to come on, give some important benefits on why you should be reading more. And, you know, I think I've got, no, I don't have any ways to incorporate reading. Maybe I'll do that on at another time. But here's some benefits on why you should be reading more, and hopefully some of these help you out. Hopefully they give you some valuable information to make you want to pick up a book and read more. Before we get started, side note, water. Always want to be drinking your water. Especially on a day like today, it's really hot and humid, and you get that fluid intake. So, the benefits of reading more. Number one, improves brain waves. This one, and if you wanted to take it a little step further, it actually is helping making you smarter, right? So when we have our brain, think of your brain waves as like muscles, right? Because it's not that, right? It's not that specific, but it is similar, right? In that sense of, follow me for a quick minute. When you're trying to improve your muscles, what do, right? If we're trying to build biceps, we're going to go to the gym. We're going to do the curls. We're going to do the bench press, right? We're going to do the probably the boxing ring, right? And then we're going to come home. We're going to eat the proteins, right? Because we need to build muscle or we need to build up the tissue in our muscles, right? And then we're going to do all the stuff that we need to, right? The proper rest and recovery, you know, the meal replacement shakes, the protein shakes, the powder, all that stuff we're going to do to make sure that we build our muscles. And then once we do that consistently on a daily basis, eventually we're going to have big, strong muscles and we're going to like to show them off to people, right? It's the same, it's not the exact same way, but it is a similar effect, right? When you think about your brain waves in the similar way that you would think about your biceps, right? If you were to build bigger biceps, if you were to build bigger biceps, there's a certain things that you would do on a daily basis in order to achieve those bicep results. It's the same way with your brain waves, right? When you're trying to increase your brain waves, when you're trying to, not in the specific sense, but, quote unquote, make yourself smarter. When you're trying to, also what's happening is you're always creating new connections in your brain. That's one of the really weird and awesome and anomaly things about your brain. That's also the reason why, scientists, even as technology grows and we get so much more in-depth in our research and our science behind things, they still can't even fathom the unlimited potential that our brain has. So that's where, if you take it down to a little, normal, average way of talking about it, our brain is making new connections all the time, right? So that's where we need to be reading more in order to help our brain with those connections, right? So if we're trying to build muscles in our biceps and we don't do, if we were to want biceps, but we only do the gym stuff and the bench press and the push-ups and all that stuff, but we don't do any of the other stuff, right? We don't focus on our nutrition intake. We're not resting and recovering properly. We're not doing any of that stuff. Chances are, right, we're not going to get the desired results of the biceps that we want, or we're going to end up injured, right? And we're going to end up on the shelf. Maybe tearing a muscle. I don't know. There's so many different things that you could do to yourself that could be very harmful for you if you're not taking proper, if you're not care. That's the word. Proper care of yourself, right? Before, during, after your workout. It's the same way with your brain waves. If you're trying to get smarter, if you're trying to improve your brain waves, if you're trying to improve those connections in your brain, and you're not actually doing anything to it, right? You're just thinking about how smart you want to be and how smart you think you should be or how smart you think you are, and you're not actually, doing the things, the reading, the behind the scenes work, if you will, you're not actually doing too much to benefit your brain waves. You're actually just kind of staying the same way you are. Number 2, improves your vocabulary. This one is actually really true because I have a story behind this one, and this is where I really like talking about this one. When I was in school in Toronto, I had a teacher actually, and she really wanted to challenge me all the time because I was a little bit smarter than everybody else. It's not so much that I was smarter than everybody else, it's that I worked hard, right? I was a very hard worker. I knew that I didn't have the brains as much as anybody else, so I knew that I had to work a little bit harder. And I didn't mind putting in the extra work, right? Because I was getting recognition, people were loving it, right? Everybody does everything for recognition. Let's get real here. There's not too much that you're going to do if you keep getting told how bad of a job you're doing and how terrible it's going and, blah, 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 right? So, I had this teacher that used to push me, and which actually, I don't even think it was a teacher. I'm pretty sure it was the principal. And what she wanted was, I was actually very good at coming up with, big extravagant words that I was able to use in sentences. I'm not that good anymore. It's been a while, right? But I was very good at coming up with big extravagant words and being able to use them. So that was actually something that I was very proud of. I was able to do it, and she took notice of it, and actually that's where it was. So every day I had to come to her with a new word, and it had to be something different. Obviously it had to be something different, and it had to be something extravagant, and it had to be something that could be used in a sentence, right? It can't just be a made up word that I'm looking for extra grades in, right? So this is where, for me, I really had to pivot, right? If I've got this task, not really a task, right? But it was something that kept me going. It kept me driven, and it helped me, get recognition that I wanted, and as well as it put me in a little bit of the good books. So that's where, right, the reading really became like forefront of my life, because that's it right there. It can totally improve your vocabulary. It can give you different types of words that you wouldn't normally think of, right? A word like ubiquitous. That's a crazy word, and I never would have even thought about using that if I hadn't read about it or if I hadn't seen it, right, in a story. There's so many words out there that, especially in the English language, right? In different languages, there's not really too many words. There's specific sets of words for different types of things, but in the English language, right, there's a way to say it, and then another way to say it, and another way to say it, and another way to say it, and there's multiple different ways to say basically the same thing, right? So that's where you have to really understand that reading more can help improve your vocabulary and make you seem a little bit smarter than you are, or than you appear to be, right? I really like doing that. Also, it helps you kill crossword puzzles. Just side note. Not if that doesn't make any difference in your life, then strike that from the record. But if you like crosswords like I do, it'll be a great way to help you get better words for it. Number 3, lets you get away, right? Lets you leave, especially if you're reading a fantasy book, lets you leave life, right? Lets you, and it's not only that it lets you get away, but it kind of forces you to use your imagination, right? You're trying to picture these characters. As much as the author does a really good job of making the story come to life, and really putting, the feelings in behind what the characters are doing, and really, creating the landscape for you. It really comes down to you having your own imagination, because you and I can read the same book, but I will have a completely different take on it than you will. And it's the same way with, with Tina, or, some people at work, or maybe, your significant other. If we read the same book, we're all going to have a different take on it, because, right, there's a few different things. One, we're all different. Everybody's different. Nobody thinks the same. And even if we think the exact same, we have a little bit different thought processes. And then, also, we all have different imaginations. And my imagination works way different than yours will, than Tina's will, than the person on the 3rd floor's will. So that's where book reading can really take you away from, especially if you're going through some things right now, and life's really not on your side, or you kind of really wish things were different. And that's actually a really cool way there. And I actually just thought about this right now when I said that, is you read stories, and then you learn different things about how different people live, about how different, societies work, and how different, lives come out. So that actually gives you little things that you can apply to your life. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, right? But you don't know unless you read about it and then enact it, implement it, whichever one of those works, into your own life. Then you can see the results, right? So if you're not reading and you're not taking in different stories, then you're going to keep living the life the way that you know that you can live, also a life that feels comfortable to you, and you're not really interested in taking too many risks. So we are here on, it was, what was the other day? Paperback Book Day. So we are talking important benefits of reading more. Number 1, improves your brainwaves. Number 2, improves your vocabulary. Number 3, lets you get away, use your imagination a little bit more. Number 4, provides enjoyment, right? Who doesn't love a good book? Maybe, nowadays people don't like a good book because there's so much more going on. There's so much to do nowadays. But I mean, when I was growing up, right, we didn't have none of that. And even before me, there was none of that. There was none of, TVs, Xboxes, iPads, even cell phones were like this big, right? Size of your arm, and only the rich people had it. If you had a cell phone, you were like, whoa, that guy's high society right there. So that's where, that's where reading really helps you, live a different, live vicariously. That's a good one I like right there. Through the people in the book. And it also helps you to use your imagination and just put yourself in that character. And if it's a really good character, you put yourself in the shoes of that character, and now you're loving every minute of their story, you're implementing it into your own life, and it's providing you enjoyment. Now, for me, I don't actually like reading fiction books. For me, I'm nonfiction. I love reading documentaries. I love the nonfiction. I read a book a little bit ago by Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki. It's called Why We Want You to Be Rich. And it's all basically just, start your own business, try real estate, investing, all sorts of stuff. But, that book is actually a really good book because rich people get all the tax breaks, right? So that's why if you're rich, it's easier. It's not better, it's just easier because of the tax breaks that you get, right? So that, to me, that's enjoyment right there. I love listening to that or reading that. I read a book a little bit ago. It was about the powers, the world powers in World War II. So it was Stalin from Russia, Hitler from Germany, Winston Churchill from Britain, and I believe it was Teddy Roosevelt from the USA. And it was their stories, their 4 stories. And it was basically how their stories played into, the outcome of the war. And I really loved, that book really got me. I loved reading that one because it was basically, a documentary of the war, right? So that to me is really exciting and interesting. And that, gets me going, right? And I'm also one of those that likes to implement or likes to learn from what people did in history to try and, great leaders, they must have had something. So I like to implement what they were doing. And I mean, a guy like Hitler, maybe, it was for all the wrong reasons, but he was able to move a nation. Like a whole entire nation, basically a whole generation of people decided that he was the guy to lead them, and they were willing to die for him, right? That's believing in a cause, right? That's making people believe in a cause. Okay, yeah, fine, it was for all the wrong reasons, and he had his own agenda behind it, whatever you want to call it. At the very base of it, this guy moved a whole nation. This one guy moved a whole nation to want to fight for him. Not only to want to, but they saw it as this was the only way that they had to live. This was their destiny. He made it seem like they had no other choice in their life but to fight for him. And that's fascinating to me. I would love to learn more about that one, right? I mean, okay, maybe I don't want to, kill off a whole generation of people, but but I definitely would like to learn how to move a whole nation to be able to work with me. Another person like Gandhi, right? Gandhi was another one of those. He didn't do it with force. He did it with, actually, and I read something somewhere that India is the only nation ever to gain independence without actually having to fight. So that's pretty interesting. So I mean, as much as, you know, wars are won by fighting, certain civilizations are able to thrive without even actually doing anything to hurt anybody. So, alright. Number 5, helps improve wellness. This one I have side notes here. Improve sleep and helps improve stress and anxiety. It helps, right? So, improving sleep, I love this one because it can be really, you know, you really know this, right? If you're in that perfect position and you're not moving anywhere and you've got, you know, the pillow tucked up behind your head, you got your legs maybe crossed up in the nice perfect way, you've got the book right there, and your eyes can get really heavy, and you're trying to stay awake, and you're doing the head bob, and you're doing the thing, and you're trying to keep your place on the page, right? But this one actually goes back to when you were a child, right? How you know, mom used to come into the bedroom, read you a bedtime story before you went to bed, and really, you know, for the most part, to a certain extent, that was the only way that you were getting to sleep, was a nice bedtime story. And then also the stories right before bedtime are great, because then it can help you, you know, it helps you with your dreams, it helps you fall asleep and go into that sort of, you know, quote-unquote fantasy land. And that's really all right there. Also, to reduce anxious feelings, right? It's a really easy way to, you know, sort of get away from the daily hustle and bustle of life. And I referred to this earlier, right? If we're trying to take our mind off of, you know, certain things that are going on, especially nowadays, right? Oh man, there's so much going on nowadays, and you know, it can be very overwhelming. You can get a lot of anxious thoughts, and, you know, people are going through some things right now that we've never even knew that we could go through, nor have we ever even, you know, even experienced in our lifetime. No way, no how. And so that's where, you know, picking up a book, it can really be as a way, like I mentioned before, as a way to get away, right? And a way to just reduce those anxious thoughts. Take your mind off of what's going on in your regular life, you know, whether it be good or bad, right? As much as the bad times are bad, they never stay bad forever. And the same thing, right? As much as good times are good, they never stay good forever. So there's that balance, right? And we never want to get too low, as much as we never want to get too high, right? Nobody likes a Debbie Downer, and nobody likes somebody that's totally on their high horse, egotistical maniac all the time. And you're like, dude, just can it, right? Nobody wants to hear it anymore. So that's where, you know, it can be very helpful to improve your overall wellness, right? When you're sleeping better, when you're less stressed, right? As much as stress can be a good thing, a little bit of stress helps push us, helps move us, help us grow as people. Too much stress can be very bad, and it can lead to, you know, a whole boatload of, you know, health problems, and, you know, financial problems. Oh my goodness. And then there's so much else behind that, right? And at the same time, nobody likes to be around somebody that's always anxious all the time, you know, overwhelmed, not really there. No, you're trying to talk to somebody, their mind is basically on Mars, right? So that's where, you know, we use reading as a way, like I mentioned, to get away, but as a way also to help calm our overall system, right? Our overall body, and then help us in, you know, in excess of ways. My last tip more than anything is essential oils. I have essential oil blend here called Intune. And Intune is actually the Focus blend from doTERRA. And that one helps to improve. This one, along with an oil called rosemary, they both help to improve focus and concentration. And it helps to, you know, that's really what it is, right? When you're trying to read, at least I get it a lot. I can, you know, you're trying to read, and then your mind is in a million different places, and you're thinking of, you know, did I pack my lunch for tomorrow? right? Did I finish the laundry? Did I put the laundry away? Oh man, I need to call to book an oil change. Oh, what's going to be work like tomorrow, right? And then you can get going, and your list of things on your mind is a million miles long, but you're trying to sit here and focus on reading a book, and that's what I love. I actually love the InTune, especially in the roller top bottle right here, so I can just roll it on my pulse points just like that, on my wrists, and just have the aroma with me to help promote focus all the time. My next oil that I have here is peppermint. And peppermint I actually use for a specific reason, because it helps actually to promote memory jogging, I guess, if you will. But the best part about it is if you read something, and it's great for helping study for test time, especially nowadays, right? We're going back to school, all that sort of fun stuff. Peppermint oil, when you are reading something and you smell peppermint oil, and then you go back and you need to remember that information that you were thinking of, peppermint oil helps to bring back those memories and jog your memory in that way so that you can remember what you were reading. And it's actually really interesting that way. That's all I got for you for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I had some fun making it. Feel free to share this, right, with your friends, a family member, perhaps somebody from your team that you feel needs to hear this. If you'd like to learn more about essential oils or how to get your hands on some of this cool stuff that I'm talking about, or if you'd like a free sample of oils just to get your hands on a little taste tester before you make a full-on commitment, definitely reach out to me, drop me a comment, send me a message saying me, and we'll get you rocking and rolling. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day and an even better week, and I look very forward to talking to you again. I love you guys. Bye for now.